And welcome to a special edition of Political Empire Extra, where we are talking to Ben Goad, who is now at the airport in Tampa, Florida, who has covered the RNC convention this year. Ben, thanks so much for joining us today.
Good to be with you.
Fantastic. So the convention was mired in storms and whatnot, but it happened. There were speeches, and particularly last night was, of course, the much-awaited Mitt Romney speech. But there was also another kind of surprising, that has been circulating through the internets, and that is Clint Eastwood's odd speech. So tell us a little bit about that, Ben. What was it like watching it there in person?
Well, I think it was bizarre is the best way to put it. Obviously, people were really excited to see Eastwood as the mystery guest. He's a well-loved actor in all different political spheres, but that speech was odd, to say the least. There were some Democrats joking afterwards that they were going to answer with having William Shatner do his version of Rocket Man in response, if that gives any idea of how they took it.
Well, and to sum it up for folks who may not have heard about it, and I haven't watched the speech all the way through, but apparently there was an empty chair on the stage, and it was all ad-libbed. It didn't sound like it was scripted at all, and he was talking to the chair as if President Obama was sitting in it, correct?
That's right, the invisible chair, and I think it was supposed to symbolize, an empty seat in the White House.
Okay. Well, Clint Eastwood's speech aside, Mitt Romney also made his address, of course, now after winning the nomination from the Republican Party. Tell us a little bit about that speech. How was it received by the audience, and what did you think of the speech? Any key points to mention?
I thought it was a safe speech. He spent a lot of the early portion of the speech telling stories about himself, his family, his early days as a businessman. I think it was supposed to sort of soften his image going forward, since Democrats have really painted him as sort of a heartless businessman. And then, he got into a 5-point plan for how he says he'll create 12 million jobs going forward. And then the balloons fell, and when they fell, people were very excited. They were happy with the speech. I talked to several inland delegates who were ecstatic. They were ready to go home and really start doing voter reg and getting people interested in this election. So it worked. The question is, how long will this momentum last? We're headed to Charlotte next for the DNC, and they're going to try to get a bump as well.
True, and that leads us into your next venture, so you don't really get much of a break. You're going from Tampa to the airport now, hopefully a little bit of a break, and then off to Charlotte. So what are you expecting from the DNC convention coming up?
Well, I think they're going to be equally pumped up. I think Charlotte has a big test ahead of them. They're sort of a smaller city. There's not a lot of hotel rooms there, so it'll be interesting to see how the city copes with this influx of tens of thousands of people descending on them over the weekend. But we'll see how it goes. Thursday night is the night that Barack Obama is going to accept his party's nomination in a big speech at the Carolina Football Stadium, and we'll have plenty of speakers before then, including former President Bill Clinton, who is expected to give a major address, as well as the mayor of San Antonio, who's given the keynote out there.
Nice. And then finally, you're at the airport, it's done. How would you describe this latest convention? How would you wrap up what the RNC did this year?
Well, I think it started slow. They obviously had to cope with Hurricane Isaac, or Tropical Storm Isaac, coming in. There was transportation problems that we've documented. And, some of the speakers had a little trouble, I think, revving up the crowd early on, but it definitely gained momentum. And I think the Republicans are really happy the way it turned out, especially, highlighted by Paul Ryan's speech and Ann Romney's speech, I think, were the two takeaways that I had of speeches were really kind of hit home with folks.
Nice. Well, Ben, thanks so much. We don't want you to miss your flight. We wouldn't want there to be an empty seat on that plane. So thanks so much for chatting with us at the convention, and we're going to see you in Charlotte.
Looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Thank you again for watching another chat with us at the Press Enterprise, and we'll see you next week.